And Brad, yo. So here we go. Here we go. This is an exciting day. I just realized the Masters Golf Tournament from Augusta, Georgia is going to be happening. Is coconut water acceptable for First Friday happy hour? Yes, pick coconut water is completely accept. Whatever beverage you want, mixed with whatever other beverage you want, is a good beverage for happy hour. Belinda's planning this charity event that I'm going to be doing. It's my friend Christella and I are going to have a conversation. People, they're going to sell tickets. We're going to have a conversation, and then they're going to do this for the high ticket price donors. They're going to do this wine tasting thing, and just the whole idea of a virtual wine tasting seems a little bit absurd to me. But I guess they're going to be mailing wine out to people, so that's just wine drinking. People are going to be drinking wine, so you got to do whatever you want. Greetings, fixed gear bike. Yes. You could have warned me, Ed, on the fixed gear bike. Well, no, I enjoyed my years of riding the fixed gear bike, but now I'm getting I think I'm going to be purchasing a gravel bike. I tried out the road bike, but that wasn't so good. Move the Byron Nelson to McKinney where you live. Oh, well, that's cool, Jen. Can't afford tickets, but it's like right over there. Yeah, well, you can't even go to the Masters. The Masters is not having people go. So even if, well, Texas is a little bit different than Georgia. Although, is it? Yes, of course it is. Of course it is. But you can't go to the Masters this year. It's all going to be online. Haven't had that for a while. Used to drink a lot, Darren says about coconut water, I think. Stephanie, greetings. Do you know Brad? You guys have the same last name. Don't you? Am I wrong about that? Yes. Yes, I'm not wrong about that. Scott, Burley gravel bikes are bitchin', so I'm told. Your days. Well, I know. I'm getting this bike to mostly ride on the road, but I like the gravel bike because the tires are a little bit fatter than a road bike, but a little bit smaller than a mountain bike. So it's not going to slow you down, and I got to go over curbs and whatnot. Yeah, and gravel bike is a thing. It's like a combination between a road bike and a gravel bike. Still thick tires so you can go over stuff, but lighter frame, only one sprocket in the front like a mountain bike. And the reason for that is who's got time to be dealing with two sprockets when you're trying to go up and down a mountain? Recumbent bike, not the coolest look. No, Andrew, it's not. And I thought about a recumbent bike. There is a geezer, and I say that in the most accepting and kind and fellowship sort of way. There's a geezer in the neighborhood who rides a recumbent bike all over the place. And it's a recumbent trike, actually. Two wheels in the front. And the way he can whip that thing around is awesome. And I've seen him on busy Lincoln Boulevard on that recumbent bike, sitting way down low with the flag up high, like making a left turn, like cutting right across 2 lanes of traffic. The guy, for a geezer, he's got the balls of a young man because the way he gets out in traffic, he just goes for it. And so I'm a little worried about that. Stephanie's your daughter, Brad. Interesting. But we've got a little father-daughter action going on in the show. I'm happy to see you both here. That's exciting. Multi-generational. I feel like the show is multi-generational now. You guys are both chiming in. Are you not? You must not be in the same house. Peloton. Yeah, Peloton. That's your bike riding at home. I'm going to be riding my bike out in the world. I do have a friend who's got the Peloton, and I was just talking to one of my corporate friends. I met her on this corporate gig, and she is a big advocate of the Peloton. She says it's really, really great, and it's not just the bike rides, but the other workouts that you can do on Peloton that are terrific. And so I'm excited. I'm excited about the idea of doing other workouts on a Peloton bike or off the Peloton bike. Sorry, I was just looking at a little bit of trying to prep to seize the day for today. I've been looking up facts about animals. Jake, is going to be the 3 of us for Thanksgiving, or are you getting together with other people outside? Yeah, we're going to get to... Dave, they do make a gravel unicycle. They make a mountain unicycle. I think I mentioned that on the show the other day. Yeah, Ed, it's a hybrid bike, sure, of course. So I'm just trying to keep up. You're in same different rooms in the same house, Stephanie. I got you now. Got you. So what was the question? Thanksgiving. Right. So what's happening is we're going to have another family. They're actually our neighbors, so we see them we see them fairly often anyway, but their kids are just a little bit younger than Fanula, and all of our kids get along. And so we're going to have Thanksgiving. They're going to come over. They're sort of in the same bubble as us, and we're not going to get any closer than 6 feet to each other, but they'll come over, and we may have another couple come over, although I'm sort of not keen on that. So here we go. Darren, Peloton. I'm not sure why you're asking a question, but it's a stationary bike with a whole online subscription workout service, just in case you're interested in subscribing. I don't make any money off of Peloton, but I was going to talk about an animal today. I've written it down in the book based on a suggestion from yesterday, and it's not the sloth. So Julie, you say, I feel like a geezer now, so if you're 57, well, no, I would say you're not a geezer till you're, maybe I'm a geezer. 60, I don't know when you're a geezer. The British, they call people a geezer. It's almost the same as calling someone a C word. Our daughter, where's our daughter? What is she doing? Does she have a good laugh for you? Well, she does laugh. I can make her laugh. She's in her room going to online school. We did a couple of C-dips this week, but she's been off it for the past couple of days. Greetings from Hilton Head Island. Barb, that's beautiful, Hilton Head Island. So today's animal that I was going to talk about is the okapi. Okapi or okapi? Akapi? I'm not sure how you pronounce it. It's also known as the forest giraffe. O-K-A-P-I. And if you've never seen one of these things, they're pretty cool looking. They don't really look like a giraffe. They look like kind of a cross between a deer with a super narrow face and a zebra, because their butts and legs are striped like a zebra, but then their bodies are kind of a burnt brown auburny color. Flavia, hello. You decided to put the kid back in in-person school. Yeah, Jen. Well, I support that decision. I get it. We're gonna let Fanula kind of decide for herself. I think for young people, it's maybe not so dangerous. Hopefully, they don't come home and kill us all. A geezer or a codger is anyone who acts old. Well, I think a geezer is a bit more. A codger, I picture is more cranky and sedentary, whereas a geezer I picture is more spunky and sarcastic and still busy pissing people off. But maybe that's just me. So the okapi, also known as the forest giraffe, because the giraffe and the okapi have a common ancestor. And the okapi, they live in the forests of the Democratic Republic of Congo, actually. And they were not discovered by Western scientists until I think it's 1901, because they're very elusive. They hide, and the Westerners were hearing the tribe people there talk about them, but they had never seen them. And finally, they got a couple of skulls and a skin, and they believe that they exist. But they're very private and camouflagey, hiding. They're herbivores. They have super long tongues, like a giraffe, which they have a common ancestor to. They're very territorial, and they're solitary. The males and females don't get together until it's mating time. And okapi have sticky scent glands on the bottom of their hooves that they use to, while they're walking around, they're also marking their territory. They, as I said, they're herbivores. They can eat between 45 and 60 pounds of food a day, that's a lot of food. And their gestation time is 14 to 16 months. So can you imagine 1 year and 2 to 1 year and 4 months, mommy carrying that baby around? Their calves are 35 pounds when they're born. And here's an interesting okapi fact. Okay, so far, the most interesting thing about okapis, well, the way they look is pretty cool. But that they have scent glands in their feet that mark their territory, I thought was interesting. And when the babies are born, they weigh 35 pounds and they don't shit for up to 8 weeks. For 4 to 8 weeks, they go without pooping, the babies, and that's to so that they don't attract predators, because their poop could obviously it'd make a scent. And they live in a little nest. The okapi makes a little nest where the baby is in for 4 to 8 weeks, and they don't poop in that nest. They're worried about leopards, these okapis. The number one worry of the okapi. The number one worry of the okapi. What are leopards, Alex? What are leopards? That is correct. So they're endangered, the okapis. Their population declined 50% in the last 24 years, which is a kind of a long period of time. They're on a slow down. I don't understand how we can know what their real population is if they're so elusive. But again, ours is not to really question the facts that we get on the internet, but just to blindly or mindlessly repeat them. And I've learned that lesson from many a politician. So the females are bigger than the males in the okapi. Females can weigh between 495 and 770 pounds, and the males between 440 and 660. So some of the bigger males might be bigger than some of the smaller females, but in general, the females are bigger, and they do have to give birth to a 35-pound baby okapi. So that tells you something. They have thick, oily fur because they live in the rainforest, and the oily fur keeps them dry. So so I imagine their pelts are kind of like a seal pelt, thick and kind of oily, which is why they're poached for their bushmeat, and also their thick, oily fur. And then they also are endangered because of their destruction of habitat. I mentioned that they're solitary. When they walk, I thought this was interesting. And I don't know if you knew this. I don't know if I knew this. But when they walk, they move the same side front and rear leg, and then the same side front and rear leg when they're walking, as opposed to other ungulates or hooved animals. I think we all knew ungulates, but I didn't. I had to look it up. Hooved animals. Other hooved animals move the opposite, so the right front and the left rear move at the same time. But not the okapi and not the giraffe. They move the same side. So they're much more of a swaying, moving, shaking their bodies from side to side, as Mr. Kermit Ruffins would tell you to do. The mothers communicate to their young. The okapi mothers communicate to their young through infrasonic calls, which I think infrared. So subsonic are like elephants, brr, way below, and infrasonic are high. Is that right? I think that's right. And so these okapi have a way to communicate, because they don't want to attract the effing leopards. These leopards, they can't hear infrasonic sounds, not like the okapi. So the okapi, you put okapis and elephants in the same room talking to their own kind. They can't hear each other. They don't speak the same language, and that's a little bit of a problem that we're having. We're experiencing a similar problem to that in our politics right now. That's a little takeaway. Yeah, Julie, I don't know what the weird gait is about, but it could have to do with some kind of the way they're eating or feeding or whatever. Darren, you never heard of Peloton before? Well, you got to get out of the house, or you got to watch the daily briefing. That's what I'm here for, to bring you up to date. Ed, you've never heard of the okapi before? Yeah, you should look them up and see what they look like. We have a couple of them here at the LA Zoo. Robert is saying, overheard at the zoo, that's not a zebra hide. It's okapi. Okapi is how I think that pronunciation is. And here the okapi. Jen's provided us with a photo. Keith, you think you're the oldest here. Well, you may be the oldest here today, but there's a guy named Don who's here quite often, who I think is in his 80s, so I'm not sure how old you are. Young okapi must also avoid the very dangerous mountain unicycle. Yes, Andrew, although there's probably only one thing more rare than okapi. I shouldn't say there's only one thing. I would say the mountain unicyclist is a bit more rare than the okapi, and especially in the Democratic Republic of Congo. There are almost no, that's not the natural habitat of the mountain unicyclists, I'm pretty sure. Infrasonic is low sound. Oh, okay. Ultrasonic, so it is like elephant sound, so they could hear each other. Well, there goes my political metaphor. Sad. They can lick their own ears. That's hot. Yes, Dave, I forgot to mention that. Their tongues are very long, so they can lick their own ears and their noses. This is a little bit of a tongue-hand pantomime work that I'm getting ready. When I come out on the road again, man, about half of it's going to be tongue pantomime. So get ready for that. So that's your animal of the day, the okapi. And I'm sorry that Belinda, Lady Jerry, couldn't be here today because she does love the okapi, and I remember her writing a paper about them for one of her animal geography classes. Flavia says, I'm only as old as I feel today. I feel early 40s. Yeah, I feel pretty good about that. Okapi, not okapi. I guess I'm saying it wrong. According to the internet, it's okapis is the plural. Yeah, octopuses. Go figure. Next week, naked mole rat. Well, Brad, I don't know. Maybe. So yeah, we're only as old as we feel. Age is just a number. I'd love to think of a question to ask Mr. Predicto, but I think I'm just moving Mr. Predicto to get to the question box. What remains undone that you've wanted to get done for years? What remains undone that I've wanted to get done for years? In terms of, my personal digitizing of all the video souvenirs of me over the years, I'd like to get that done. That remains undone. That's a good one. I'd like to get that video digitized. I keep mentioning that, and maybe I need to write a book about finally the okapi project. I've got to get to work on that. That wasn't a very long. What remains undone? What remains undone? Well, I had a kid. I didn't think I was going to have a kid in my life, and I did that. And I got married. I'd given up on that, but that happened. Now, I've traveled a lot of places. I'm not sure where I'd like to travel to next. Dave, still act like you're 17 and sustain injuries daily. Yeah, I feel like that's one of the lessons that I've really been trying to learn this year, that whole idea of listening to your body, because I can still do a lot of stuff. I've been doing these sea dips, and I'm training jujitsu when I can, when I'm allowed again. But man, I can't do everything I used to be able to do, and I can't do some of the things I do as often as I used to be able to do them. But what are you going to do? Yeah, I missed my trip to New Zealand. You're right, Jen. That's a thing that remains undone that I meant to do, and we're really wanting to go. Belinda's grandmother has gone into the assisted living care facility, and she loves it, by the way. She's 101, loves it. Her social life is taking off. She's putting on a little bit of weight because when she was at home, even though people were coming in to cook her food, she was lonesome. So her appetite was down. She would eat a little bit, go to bed. I think she was just kind of going through the motions from day to day. Sound familiar, everybody? Oh my God, that's the thing that's killing me about this pandemic COVID virus, is you wake up in the morning. Today my to-do list was go on this bike ride. When I got back from the bike ride, I was like, boom, that's it. But then I've got this, so it's just the repetitive day to day. So Belinda's grandmother is really excited to be at this facility where she's got a social life now. She's hanging out with other people, and she's being fed well, and you can conversate and socialize, all that stuff. You're always pushing Africa, so many different types of places. Yeah, Egypt, Morocco, North Africa. I feel like, yeah, Ed, I would love to go to Africa too. And that Egypt, Morocco, top North Africa, that's a trip. And then there's your desert Africa that you want to check out a little bit, down just below that, or actually part of that, right? Then you've got your Victoria Falls and all of that kind of jungly Africa. Then you've got your Serengeti, your plains, all your animals that you want to go see. And then I have to admit, I'm curious to visit South Africa. I'm interested in that. Get a round trip airline ticket to New Zealand for about $26 now. Well, Darren, I don't think you can. I think you'll find that it's tricky to get a ticket to New Zealand because you got to prove that you're allowed to get in there, and it's very limited availability. They've canceled a ton of flights because they're not allowing people in. You got to quarantine for 2 weeks if you are allowed to get in. And so we're thinking about that. Julie says, I can't wait for assisted living. Hope you're not too senile so you can appreciate it. Well, Julie, I've been pitching the idea of not a retirement community, but, these communities where you move and they've got a more communal kind of a social aspect. I suppose we could create that in our own world. Yeah, pick. Every day feels like Sunday. Kind of like Sunday, except things are weirdly open. Like you can go to some restaurants and eat outside here. I know that a lot of places they're shutting down. Jen says, I'd rather get hit in the face with a frying pan than go to Africa. Texas is hot enough. Well, yes, and I know that you're joking because I would really caution you to not make that deal because getting hit in the face with a frying pan, definitely worse than going to Africa. I mean, if someone's taking a full swing, even a half swing of a frying pan in the face could put you out of commission for a while. But then again, I don't know you. You know what you're talking about. Africa, probably the most diverse continent. This is a big continent. Jen, you ready for assisted living? Well, listen, maybe that's a job for all of us now to figure out an assisted living place. We could be doing this from inside of our inflatable bubbles at an assisted living place. South Africa just announced today that they're reopening for all travelers. Yeah, I bet that's safe. What remains undone? Yikes, Brad says. So much. Once the pandemic is over, Stephanie and I go back to the Philippines to fiance vacation on the beach. I can't pronounce some of these places in the Philippines you're talking about. Rebuild a house for her mom. Oh, yeah. I really have to say I loved my visit to the Philippines, although I'm not sure about the government there in the Philippines now. But then again, the people in the government are such two different things that you can go to a place and hopefully not have to interact with the government too much. Where would my stuff go, Scott, in those communities? Well, I would have to get rid of some of this stuff. That would be sad. But I think you'd be surprised about how much of this I could get rid of and still feel like I had a lot left. Oh, Ed, coming in to help Jen out. Johannesburg, 7,000 feet, very temperate. Good. Plastic frying pan. I don't know if there is such a thing as a plastic frying pan, Dave, but and I'm a little scared of it. If there is a plastic frying pan, I'm a little bit scared of it. David says he loved Kenya, just don't eat anything. Got violently ill on the flight home. Yeah, well, eating in a foreign country can be a bit tricky. Somehow I pinned your comment there, Scott. Everyone in those communities lives like an assy. Where would my stuff go? Yeah, I accidentally pinned that. I don't know what happened to me. Oh, everybody's talking about what we'd bring. Rhino research. That'd be a good thing to. Yeah, I'd love to visit that. Need to get to Kenya, Zimbabwe, Uganda, Congo. Yeah, that sounds great, man. Maybe I'm senile enough not to care that somebody pitched it. I'm not sure what you're talking about there, Julie, but yeah, I kind of feel like sometimes I would be not so sad to find out that if I found out tomorrow that Belinda just threw away all of the VHS tapes in the house, part of me would feel like, oh my God, and then the rest of me would feel like, oh my God, this is a relief. But I can't bring myself to throw them away myself. It's a little bit tricky. And I know, Julie, I know you've offered in the past. Don't throw them away. Just send them to you. Um, maybe that's Andrew. How do I think my comedy would go over in Africa? Well, I don't know. I mean, in South Africa, I think I might have a shot. I've met some African comics at the Melbourne Comedy Festival. I think I could handle that. I mean, I don't think I could make a career out of it, but I think I'd be able to do a show. Pick plastic frying pan for the microwave. That's a funny idea because it's not really a frying pan if you're using it in a microwave. That's a dish. That's a dish with a handle. A frying pan means you have to fry with it, right? I think. I'm pretty sure about that. Wow, I'm loving the non sequitur part of the comments where I haven't kept up with things like Stephanie. This except the beak, except the beak. That's a good overheard at the grocery store. Except the beak, you can eat it all, eat the whole thing, but not the beak. Balut just took a look unappetizing. Yeah, I've heard that the balut. What is it? It's like a bird fetus thing. Yeah, no, thank you. What other countries have I done comedy in, and was it ever received differently? Well, Jen, I did comedy in a lot of countries when I went on the road with Mr. Russell Peters, the great Russell Peters, I dare say, and I have a list of those, but maybe we'll talk about those next week because I don't have that list handy and I'd like to talk about all of them, but I can tell you that Croatia and Slovenia were awesome. Awesome. So I could have had my own Melania if I didn't already have my own Melania. Boom. Do you see that? Do you follow me? Do you see what I'm saying? Went to India for 2 weeks. First off, the food was awesome and didn't get sick at all. Having a driver and a guide was key, Darren. Yeah, that sounds like a great trip. I think when you go someplace like that, you want to kind of travel in a little bit higher class than you normally would, whatever that is. And economically, I think that's affordable. But yeah, it's tricky. I like to eat the local food, but you got to be careful. You got to be careful. Put tinfoil under the plastic frying pan in the microwave. Things will fry, you're guaranteed. Yeah, Dave, the tinfoil in the microwave, I don't know if you've ever put metal in a microwave accidentally before, but it's not good. If you take a CD that you don't want anymore and you put it in the microwave with the shiny side up, it makes a little kind of a lightning storm effect that is kind of entertaining and probably dangerous and off-gassing and poisonous, but I've seen that. Jeff says Egyptian comedy equals camels, something we do know a lot about. Right, Stephanie, eating balut. That's the except the beak. Eat it all except the beak. Got you. Balut, 16 to 18 day duck embryo boiled, eat it right out of the shell. I'm a no thank you on that, Brad. I do enjoy the local food when I'm traveling, but I think balut, I think the days of me having enough to drink to eat the balut are over. I don't think I could get, it just seems like such a no thank you to me that I can't imagine it. But anyway, Darren, Melania will be available soon. Yeah. You can pick up a used Melania for cheap. Dave, you put everything in the microwave and CDs are fun. Yeah, well, things. I hope you've got a YouTube channel, Dave, and if you do, I hope you put a link to it, because if you're not making YouTube videos of all the things you put in the microwave, you're missing a trick. I bought one of those blenders. I had a Vitamix, and I got rid of the Vitamix. Well, I didn't get rid of it, but it kind of eventually, some part of it stopped working right, and I couldn't get a replacement thing for it. So I got the new, God, I can't think of the name right now, but Will It Blend. They've got a YouTube channel, Will It Blend, and they blend golf balls and hockey sticks and all kinds of stuff. It's pretty good. So I'm encouraging you, Dave, to start a YouTube channel if you haven't. Andrew says, hey, Jake, random question. What do you think of the Borat character? Sacha Baron Cohen has guts. Yes, I agree. I did talk about this the other day because on election night, we watched the Borat movie, and some of the Sacha Baron Cohen stuff, his Dolly G videos, I thought, I didn't like the idea that, oh, we're making fun of people because they were actually nice to this guy who's sort of a jerk. And I didn't like that element of it, but I really thought he hit a kind of a sweet spot with this movie. Um, with this new movie that you can watch now, where uh, you got the comedy aspect, but I really felt like the people who were involved, the Trump supporters and whatnot, came off as very sympathetic because they were so nice to him and helped him in spite of the fact that he was playing and they didn't realize he was pretending to be a moron. They thought he just was a moron. Anyway, I thought he was brave and great. Yes, I'm a supporter of that. So Dave's wondering if you eventually run out of microwaves. Uh, oh, I see. So you've done with the microwaving everything, Dave, because it's your microwave now and not your parents'. Yes, so I get it. Um, just in time to say bye, Carol. Yeah, well, you are. Oh, I've gone over the time. Well, it's been a fun show. Mr. Predicto didn't get a look in. We've got the fun meter still up at the maximum. Let me just round things out with a little bit of gas. The fart machine is in effect. Lady Jerry hopefully will be here tomorrow, but I can't say for sure. Today's Seize the Day is from Tom Hiddleston. I'm an optimist. I choose to be. There's a lot of darkness in our world. There's a lot of pain, and you can choose to see that, or you can choose to see the joy. If you try to respond positively to the world, you will spend your time better. If you try to respond positively to the world, you will spend your time better. And I feel like that's that's very true. If you speak positive, you're going to receive positive. The way you are to everybody else is the way they're going to be to you, generally speaking. But it never hurts to be nice to an asshole. So, well, it maybe does hurt. I shouldn't say it never hurts, but try and be nice to someone who's being a jerk to you, and maybe we can fix things a little bit. Don't give up. There'll be plenty of time to give up later. I will see you all tomorrow.